This Choircast podcast is brought to you by High Minds. Join host Andy Colenso and Matthew J. DiStefano as they tackle culture, justice, spirituality, and all the big questions shaping our world. High Minds isn't about talking points or hot takes. It's about deep, insightful conversation that inspires and challenges. Tune in to explore new angles, question the status quo, and elevate your thinking. Listen to High Minds wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, heathens, you're listening to the Deadly Faith Podcast, where religion and crime collide. I'm Laci.
And I'm Lola.
And this shit is vengeful.
The mind that was in Jesus, that mind is in me.
Without me, life has no meaning.
Why would God tell you what I'm thinking and tell you what I've said to my wife or my husband when you're not around? It's because I'm the pastor of the church and I need to know.
This is the only place where you can see truth.
I'm nervous.
Did you just hear my dog sneeze in the background?
Was that your... I thought your foot slipped, but okay.
No, that was like the loudest sneeze I've ever heard. That was hilarious. I said,
bless you. We say bless you to our animals.
Because you died. I was like, vengeful. And she's like,
She concurs.
She concurs. Hey, heathens. So before we dive into today's case, I am thrilled to share with you that my book is about to be released. I can't believe it's finally here. It's been a long journey filled with tears, sweat, and laughter, and I just couldn't be more excited. So the book is called Leaving the Sanctuary. It is discovering life beyond the boundaries of religion. It's, chronicling my journey of religious deconstruction, and it touches on literally everything from depression to fear to the shifts in my closest relationships, because if you know, you know. It offers just a really raw perspective on that season of my life, along with some insights that I hope will really resonate with you and maybe give you a little nugget of wisdom or a tip or a trick for you to help with your journey. So mark your calendars for November 12th, 2024, when it will be available exclusively on Amazon. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, and back to the case.
The Hockensmith murders.
Not Hockensmith, Hockensmith.
Oh, okay.
Is how you pronounce it.
Is that a last name?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It is a last name.
Hockensmith.
Before we get into the case today, guys, I have a cold. School is back in session, and my kids lasted not even 2 weeks before coming home with a cold. And then they shared it with me. So I'm super clogged right now. So just bear with me.
I hate when you say clogged. I hate that word anyway.
I made a joke earlier and I said I'm clogged.
She's so proud of this, by the way.
I am proud of this joke. I said I'm more clogged than when Gene did his super bow into the Pesto's.
Oh my
Jimmy
God.
Pesto's restaurant.
Bob's Burgers. Gene had a super bowel the same week as the Super Bowl.
No.
And he took the poop at Jimmy Pesto's Pizzeria and he flooded the restaurant.
Yeah, he clogged. And I was like, I'm more clogged than when Gene clogged Jimmy Pesto's toilet in the Super Bowl episode. But just bear with me. It's the best we can do. Okay? You're here. We're here. Let's make fun of it. Okay?
It'll be fine.
Make fun of it. Let's have fun with it. I can't.
Her brain's like,
I'm dead.
Do you have trigger warnings?
I do. Let's do trigger warnings. Murder, not super graphic. It's just like gunshots and things like that. And then attempted suicide. That's literally all the trigger warnings I got for today.
Can you believe that we take the trigger warnings? We're like, oh, murder. Whatever. That's fine.
Well, it's because it's a true crime podcast.
The way we gauge or measure the ferocity of it all.
Because I can't, there's some episodes I'm like, murder, very graphic, torture, extreme. It's not light torture, it's extreme torture. Or also, it's a true crime podcast, so you kind of are expecting murder. It's very rare we have an episode where there's not a murder, or at least an attempted murder of some sort.
Or a death.
All right. So we're just going to jump right into the episode. Today, we're talking about the Hockensmith murders. And so let's talk about the Hockensmith family. Michael Hockensmith was serving as a youth pastor in central Kentucky when he met Angie, and they quickly fell deeply in love. It soon became common to see one with the other. It was like you wouldn't see one without seeing the other.
Two peas in a pod.
They were connected at the hip. A few years later, they married and started a family, welcoming a son named Andrew and a daughter named Naomi. With their 2 children, they felt that their family was complete. They had a boy, they had a girl. Life was good, life was perfect. They loved it.
Michael was known for his fun-loving nature as a husband, father, and friend, while Angie was celebrated for her warmth, kindness, and sociability.
Wow. I didn't know if you'd get it. I wasn't going to help you.
My nose is so clogged. Like, it's hard. Like, some words like don't come out like they normally do. It's so weird. I don't know how you people do it with a deviated septum. And like, I really
don't exclude our deviated septum.
No, I'm not excluding you guys. Septum.
Okay.
I just don't know how you guys function. Like,
yeah,
I feel for you. All the prayers. All the prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yes. She also had the ability to make friends wherever she went. So she was very social. She was a social butterfly. She could go anywhere and anyone she met, she'd make a friend of them. The family eventually settled in Danville, Kentucky, where Michael continued to preach on the side while Angie devoted her time to homeschooling their children. As preaching alone wasn't sufficient to support their family, Michael took a job at ABC Pawn, a pawn shop owned by a fellow pastor named Kenneth Allen Keith. Now, this arrangement was ideal for the Hockensmiths as it provided additional income while also allowing Michael to continue preaching and pursuing his calling. On busy days, though, at the pawn shop, Angie would actually bring the kids along with them, and she'd homeschool them while also helping manage the business. Super mom.
At the pawn shop?
At the pawn shop.
Wow.
And
okay.
The kids loved it, though, because they'd have TVs. Like, Andrew talks so highly of it. And he was like, it was a playground. They had TVs and gaming systems.
No, yeah.
And like,
I was thinking that would be super fun. Like,
yeah. And he had his own desk. And so like he would be able to do school there. And then he'd get to play video games and he gets to interact with people. So like he absolutely loved it. However, their lives changed forever on Friday, September 20th, 2013. I don't have really much more info. I don't really have any more information about their earlier lives. This is going to be more of a fast-paced case. So just to FYI. That morning, the whole family arrived at the shop around 9 a.m. Their 9-year-old son, Andrew, quickly settled in front of the TV to play a video game. By 9:15 a.m., 60-year-old Dan Smith, a regular gold broker known to the Hockensmiths, came in to sell some gold. Dan, who was also a preacher, supplemented his income by buying and selling gold. He had a regular route and schedule that he followed every single week. So this
everybody's got a side hustle. I like it.
I know, they're preachers with a side hustle. That's a very, very common theme in this episode.
Yeah.
So as Dan and Michael were at the counter negotiating gold prices, another man unexpectedly walked into the pawn shop. Then shockingly turned around and locked the door from the inside. He immediately after that advanced towards the counter, brandishing a gun and demanding that everybody get on the ground.
Oh, shit.
Despite the fact that Dan and Michael were also armed, they were taken by surprise, and presumably they were trying to prioritize the safety of the children. So they complied with the gunman's demands and got on the ground. Angie, Naomi, and Andrew huddled together in a corner, terrified for their lives. Around this time, Naomi was like a baby, like old enough to crawl, but like that, I think she was like 10 months old, if I'm remembering correctly. In a terrifying turn, like this all happens so fast. The gunman opened fire, shooting Dan first, then Michael, and then finally Angie.
No.
After attacking the three adults, he returned to Dan and Michael. Meanwhile, Angie, wounded with a gunshot wound to the head, managed to instruct Andrew to take Naomi to the back room in a final attempt to try to save their lives.
Ugh.
Andrew swiftly grabbed Naomi and crawled to the back room, all while witnessing his father in agony and pleading with the shooter to stop. Once in the back room, Andrew carefully placed Naomi on the couch and sat beside her. As they hid, he heard 4 more deafening gunshots ring out from the shop, causing Andrew to, he said, blink. Like they were so loud, like
he flinched.
He also said he could hear his mother's desperate pleas for the shooter to spare her children.
Oh.
Crawling to the doorway, Andrew saw his mother lying in a pool of blood, and in a state of panic, he immediately called 911. So I think he went back there, could hear his mom pleading, and then also heard the shots, the 4 deafening shots. So this is the 911. This is most of the 911 call. I'm sure there was more to it, but this is what I could find.
Okay.
And this might not be exactly word for word, but it's like 99%, I would say that. This.
Oh my God. I'm so heartbroken for those kids. I mean, for all of them, but like, oh.
And I've watched, like, I've listened to this 911 call and I've listened to Andrew's interview with officers. It is, and he's like, some sources say 8, some say 9.
But he's
the
a
most
kid.
reliable
He's just
source
a kid.
is, I would say 9. So I'm going to say he's 9. But yeah, he's a kid. And when I tell you, Andrew is the GOAT here. Here we go. So he calls 911. Andrew, someone is a robber at a pawn shop and my parents got shot. 911, where is the robber? Andrew, he is right here, right now. 911, does the robber have a gun? Andrew, yes, he shot my parents. 911, okay, can he see you? Andrew, I'm in the back right now. 911, you're in the back? Andrew, yes. 911, so the robber is at the front of the store? Andrew, yes, but I don't know if he's here or not, but please come quickly. 911, where are your parents? Now, during this point of the 911 call is when you could start to hear baby Naomi in the background starting to whimper.
Yeah.
Andrew, they are dead on the ground. Come here quickly because I'm afraid. Please hurry. And at this point, his voice starts to begin to like break. And like reality is hitting him in this.
Well, he just said out loud, my parents are dead.
They're dead.
Ugh.
Yeah. 911. Okay, they're coming, okay? So the Danville police arrived about 6 minutes after Andrew's 911 call, with Officer A.J. Mullins being the first on the scene. Now, shocked by the severity of the situation relayed over the radio, A.J. and her colleagues faced a crisis unlike anything they had encountered before in this area. Like shit like this does not happen in Danville.
Okay.
To let the officers in, Andrew attempted to unlock the front door while holding Naomi. Unfortunately, a broken key had jammed the lock, making it impossible for him to open it. Now, this is my assumption. There are I watched 2 different like videos about this and I read multiple resources and I had to put it all together and I had to kind of piece things together that I assumed, fit from multiple sources.
I understand. Yeah.
So in one source, it says that the shooter locked it himself.
Okay.
So I think since it was inside the store, it was one of those locks that like you have to have a key in order for it to lock. And so I think they just kept a key in at all times and it was always there. And when the shooter turned it to lock it, in his haste, he snapped it off.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
That's what I'm assuming. So since he couldn't open the door, I am assuming that Andrew set Naomi down because Andrew says he walked to that door with Naomi in his arms and the 911 still on the phone.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming Naomi gets down because an officer said she managed to crawl over to her mother's body.
No.
I know. The officers quickly made entry, and when they made their way inside, they focused solely first on clearing the building. They first discovered Angie laying behind the counter, and Michael's body is 180 degrees away from Angie, but also behind the counter. So you can see it's like literally like a straight line.
Okay.
So, but they're still behind the counter of like what you would think a pawn shop.
Yes.
While Dan, the gold broker, was found on the outside, like the customer side of the counter on the floor. All 3 were dead at the scene, and the cops instantly noticed that it looked like Dan's body had actually been moved, like drug a little bit, after he had been shot and murdered, which they took note of that very quickly. Once the building was secured, the officers began to bring the scene into focus and started to hear Naomi crying and noticed her sitting beside her mother's body.
No.
One officer admitted that their training emphasized tuning out all surrounding chaos.
Yeah.
And focusing on the goal. The goal was clear the building. Make sure the intruder is not there. That is number 1 priority. So they are
How did the intruder get out?
There was a back way out of the...
Okay. That wasn't the office part that Andrew and Naomi are in?
No, because
Okay.
they were in like an office room, and then there was like another door out towards the alley.
Gotcha.
So he or she, the person went out
Them.
that door. Yeah, that was like shocking to hear the officer explain it like that. Like he didn't even realize that the baby was by her mom's body and crying because he was so focused on perpetrator, where, trying to clear it. So before collecting evidence, they wanted to secure the children first and foremost. They wanted to get them away from the traumatic scene. So they put them with Officer Mullins and they were taken back to the police station. When they surveyed the scene, it was very challenging, though, for them to distinguish between evidence and the pawn shop's normal inventory.
What?
Given that it was a pawn shop specializing in guns and ammo.
Okay. Yeah.
So they were like, what is part of...
That's
like,
the worst.
There's so much there. So they're like, what is the evidence? What is not?
I never thought about that, but a pawn shop or I guess a gun store would be like the worst for a shooting.
Yeah. Well, and not just like that, but the pawn shop sells everything.
True. Yeah.
And so it's like, what piece of evidence here, not gun related, is this a piece of evidence or is this not?
Or is this just a DVD?
Yeah, like what the fuck is this? So they tried to like meticulously document everything, and they took wide angle photographs to ensure that they captured the entire scene in hopes to not overlook anything. The only certainty they had at the scene was that some spent shell casings were that of a .22 caliber gun, and several bullets appeared to have been marked but not fired, suggesting that the weapon had like jammed or malfunctioned and it had to be re-racked. So like the firing pin, I'm assuming what they're meaning is the firing pin tapped the bullet, but it didn't actually fire. So there's that
discharge. Yeah. Okay.
There's that marking on it. Autopsies revealed that Michael had been shot 8 times, including in the head, the chest, and the legs. Angie had been shot 3 times. Some sources say all in the head, but then some, I would say a little bit more reliable sources, one of those was right through the heart. So she was shot 3 times at least. While Dan had also been shot 5 times. Again, from what I could tell in some resources, it said it was all in the head.
What the fuck?
I know. Very brutal. Initially, the theory was a robbery, given the pawn shop's nature. But this was quickly disproven when it was found that the cash register was full of money and untouched. So the new theory suggested that maybe it's a targeted hit. But now they're wondering, is this aimed at Dan, the gold broker, or is this aimed at the Hockensmiths, or is it both? They don't know.
Yeah, because they've all got multiple gunshot wounds. But
every single one of them.
And 5 and 8.
Yeah.
Angie, is that her name?
Angie was 3.
She has just 3, which that could mean something. But I would be more focused on the men and the fact that it was so many more shots to them when you don't need that many to kill somebody at the places that he was shooting. So
you're thinking with your full brain. Look at you, Miss Investigator.
My squiggles are squiggling. You can trust me. I'm not a doctor.
Now, their best lead, though, unfortunately, was to interview Andrew. He was an eyewitness to this crime.
Just a baby.
So, as his recollections would still be fresh, they had to interview him.
This sucks.
This is distressing, and they didn't want to have to do this and to involve him further, but they hoped that he could provide crucial information about the perpetrator. And Andrew proved to be an invaluable witness. I swear, you guys, I will leave a comment or a link to, I'm going to see if I can find his interview, or I will link the very first YouTube video I saw about this case.
Okay.
But and go ahead and watch it. It's a great video. There's just a lot of I ended that video and was like, I have to know more about this. It doesn't give you as much information. So this is what struck me. But you can see Andrew giving this interview, and it's fucking remarkable, this boy. So he calmly describes the intruder as a heavier set, older white man with a fake beard that resembled like a Halloween costume. So like he's like, he had a beard, but it was not a real one. Like I could tell it was a costume beard. He also said that the intruder was wearing sunglasses, a cap, black latex gloves, and a camo jacket. Andrew also recalled that the gunshots initially sounded unusually high-pitched. He said that it made him think of a dart gun is what he thought of when he heard it. And he also said that the gun had an unusually long barrel. So when shown a picture of a handgun equipped with a silencer, he promptly confirmed that it matched the weapon used at the crime scene. He also said, though, those shots that made him blink, like the ones at the beginning were like high-pitched, like pew, pew, pew. Mm-hmm. But then the ones when he was in the back room were deafening.
Like full out gunshot.
No silencer used kind of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they thought, okay, was there a second weapon? Did he take off the silencer? What happened?
Why would you take off the silencer if you originally used it?
Great question. Now, the news of the shooting reached Michael's mother quickly, prompting her to drop everything and rush to the pawn shop. Before she could reach the door, though, officers intercepted her and delivered the heartbreaking news that her son, his wife, and a customer were unfortunately dead. Devastated and feeling as if her life is crumbling around her, she takes some solace in the fact that her grandchildren were safe and were at the police station. So she then hurries there so that she can comfort them and they can comfort her. In an interview, she says that if it wasn't for those grandkids, she doesn't think she would have been able to survive the grief that consumed her after this.
Understandably.
Absolutely.
Parents shouldn't have to bury their kids. How many times will I say it?
You know, never. It's unjust, in my opinion. Now, meanwhile, the officers faced the difficult task of notifying Dan Smith's family of his murder. They were equally devastated and struggled to understand why anyone would target him or the Hockensmiths. All of these people were devout followers of God, they had strong families, they had good friends, and seemed to have no enemies. So even Dan Smith's family's like, we have no idea why this would have happened.
And he's also a preacher.
He's also a preacher. Everyone's preachers. We've got all preachers here. So everyone's like, what the fuck? Now, Dan's daughter described him as a generous man, always giving of his time, energy, kind words, or finances. He really lived with an open heart, an open hand, and a kind spirit, touching the lives and those around him in so many meaningful ways. While canvassing the area around the pawn shop, officers found a witness who reported seeing a heavy-set white male with a beard exit the pawn shop and head into the alleyway before driving off in a silver minivan.
Oof, we got
Though the pawn shop lacked surveillance cameras, nearby businesses did have them, and the footage revealed a silver van circling the pawn shop multiple times that morning, suggesting that it was either scouting the location or stalling for time for some reason. While the license plate was not discernible, the information was a very significant lead. Investigating the Hockensmith family revealed no apparent motive for the crime. Literally none whatsoever. Great family. What? Nothing. They were well respected. They had strong community ties, a supportive church congregation, and good friends. No one had a bad thing to say about these people. So with no leads, the detectives then go and from their background and they pay attention to the business's background itself. And they uncover some very potentially bombshell leads.
What? Okay.
So Steve Devine, okay, he is the building owner.
I hate that last name.
Devine. Devine.
Just feels wrong.
He is the building owner and the co-owner of the pawn shop. And he was scheduled for that meeting with Dan Smith that morning. So he was supposed to be there along with Michael Hockensmith to meet with Dan Smith, the gold broker.
Gotcha.
However, Steve claimed he woke up with some type of allergy problems and informed Michael that he couldn't make it and told him to handle the business dealings. Now, I am sure all of you are like, huh? You had some allergies and you couldn't come in for a meeting. Red flag. The cops were thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it raised the same red flag for them. Though Steve's wife corroborated his alibi. And it was during this time that the police discovered that Dan had a regular schedule with appointments at various pawn shops and typically carried between $30,000 and $100,000 in his briefcase on these days.
Oof.
So this was the point when they found out, okay, Dan has a set schedule with set pawn shops every single week.
Yeah.
At set times. Like, to track him, he has the most predictable routine. It's easy, making him a prime target for a lucrative robbery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't make Steve not a suspect, even though his wife corroborated his alibi, because, like, I'm sorry, a wife's corroborating your alibi.
Duh.
Nah. It's your wife. It's your wife. Like, she could lie for you. She could not.
I'm not like other girls. I'm worse. No.
Yeah. So it's not that Steve isn't a suspect.
He's just not the main radar for now.
Okay, you have an alibi. We're going to check out other things. Now, at the crime scene, though, investigators noted that not only had Dan's body been moved, but so had his briefcase, which was also found with no money inside of it.
What?
This suggested that maybe Dan was the initial target. Since Dan had that regular schedule, tracking his movements before his visit to the ABC Pawn in Danville was straightforward. At Lawson's Jewelers in Harrisburg, Kentucky, Dan was captured on CCTV, arriving, conducting his business, and then leaving. Throughout his business, he appeared normal and even engaged in small talk with other customers. No one, not one person, was seen following him, tracking him, even his car. Even the security footage outside saw no silver minivan in any of the footage. So it's not like this didn't mean that, like, Dan couldn't have been the target. He easily could have, but it still puzzled him that, like, if he was the target, why wasn't somebody following all of his movements? That's kind of suspicious. Like I said, it's not ruling Dan out as a target, but it does give the investigators a new angle. Then, just 4 days after the murders, the police received an unexpected tip from a Michigan pastor named Tracy Harold.
What?
Tracy, who was familiar, like I told you, we got pastors
left, they're coming out
right, center.
Out the woodwork. Okay.
Without the woodworks, yep. So Tracy, who was familiar with the Hockensmiths, and Kenneth Allen Keith, the pastor who employed Michael at the pawn shop, reported that someone he knew in Kentucky had been making suspicious comments about the murders, and he felt like police officers should know about this. So Tracy had texted Kenneth, the owner of the pawn shop, to check on him after he had heard about the murders, and Kenneth responded.
Wait, Kenneth?
Kenneth Allen Keith is his name.
Okay.
What?
Who's Divine? Sorry, no. Okay, hold on. No.
Steve?
He's the building owner, but the pawn shop owner is... Okay. Y'all ignore me.
Yeah. It'll just let me keep going.
Why are there so many men? Anyway.
It'll keep connecting.
Okay.
So Tracy had texted Kenneth to check on him, and afterwards, and Kenneth responded with that he was devastated. Shortly after that, Kenneth called Tracy and began detailing his activities for the day down to the exact minutes.
Okay, that's a predetermined alibi.
What?
If I ever heard one.
Exactly. Same thing. Tracy's like, this is odd. It seems like you're trying to...
Laci, at 2:15 today, I took a pee.
Yeah. Thanks. He got even more specific than that, okay? Kenneth claimed that he woke up at 5:47. I can't tell you what time I got up this morning. It was sometime around 7
Actually,
o'clock.
Okay, that's not that weird because I can tell you, I get up at like the crack of dawn. So I can tell you, what time I get up because I'm fully awake.
Okay, what time did the clock say this morning?
6:05.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not even joking.
You're weird.
Listen, when my eyes are open, I am a fully functioning person all the way. I don't need caffeine. Look at me. I'm crazy.
Oh,
this is sober.
I'm not. I am the opposite. I'm crawling out of my bed like a fucking...
I've witnessed you in the morning. Don't worry.
I'm actually, that's not even the true me because I was like pumped to be at your house. So I was like,
well, it is kind of like Christmas.
Yeah, it is. It was Christmas. Seriously. Okay, so he claims he woke up at 5:47 a.m. to go to the his pawn shop in Somerset. So he owns multiple pawn shops. Okay. So he left his pawn shop apparently at 7:17 a.m. and went to an 8 a.m. appointment at the VA hospital in Lexington, Kentucky. And then he went to Danville. So he was in Danville around the time of the murders. Somerset and Danville aren't close. They're an hour away from each other.
Okay.
So it's like, why were you in Danville? He says to pick up a prescription for his wife. And he explained that no local pharmacy could fill the prescription, leaving him no choice but to travel an hour away to Danville to get it filled.
That's probably wrong.
Right?
That's probably not how that works. I'm not in pharmaceuticals, but I feel like that's not how that works.
Also, if you were in the VA and you had an appointment at the VA hospital Exactly. And it's in Lexington, Kentucky. That's like a bigger city in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So like, you're going to get it filled there, fucker? So, suspicious. Anyways, he also just gives up the information that he just got his van, his minivan, might I add, detailed for an upcoming trip to Florida with the family. Odd.
Okay. If it's a detailed itinerary on top of that, a car cleaning, know that there's a problem. Immediately know.
I mean, where's the guy running with the red flag?
Sir, like, you forgot something.
Exactly. We say this all the time, but this is one of those moments it's like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? You're so dumb. Again, with the car cleaning, it's not a typical car cleaning. It's getting it detailed. That shit's fucking expensive to get your car detailed. They take out the motherfucking seats. Okay. Why are you doing that before you go on a family vacation? Family vacations are notorious for trashing your fucking vehicle. You go get a normal cleaning, and then when you get back from the vacation, you get the detail.
Yes.
The math ain't mathin', sir.
And this is a math class. This is PE. It's not. Where?
This is social studies. Just kidding. Then, when discussing the murderers, Tracy noted that Kenneth's demeanor changed drastically. Kenneth's voice even altered so much that Tracy said that if he didn't know that it was Kenneth on the phone, he wouldn't have recognized him.
What do you mean? Did he go,
Like I think it went more like deeper and more like sinister.
Somebody got murdered.
Yeah. He was like, what the fuck? And Kenneth made disturbing remarks about the Hockensmiths, stating, quote, well, they're not innocent either. The Hockensmiths were not good people. They were evil people. They got what they deserved. They cost me a lot of money.
Oh, you've just talked about a personal issue with them. That's not concerning.
No. And then he even goes on and says that he claimed that God judges people with either a lion's or a lamb's judgment, and that God had chosen to give the Hockensmiths the lion's judgment, and they got what they deserved.
What does that even mean? What is that?
I don't know. He's fucking crazy.
Isn't the lamb the sacrifice?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
But the lion is like, I will tear you up. And so since they got murdered, God used the lion's judgment on him.
This is not the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
No, it is not, but he thought it was. And he was ready to give all the analogies.
Somebody put this man in a box. I mean, not like a coffin, but like put him in a place. He needs to
when he did have his box called a pulpit, he was seen at least one time, maybe more than one time, preaching about like his past mistakes. And the whole time he's preaching, he has a gun over his shoulder, like on a sling, like what you would put on like a hunting rifle or a shotgun.
Why is that fashion? Question mark?
America. I don't fucking know. Like, I'm like, red flag. If you're preaching with a gun.
What an accessory.
Like that, sir, you need to go to the hospital and not the ER kind. So this completely shifted the officer's focus of the investigation. They now suspected that the Hockensmiths were the intended target, and maybe Dan was just wrong place, wrong time. So Kenneth was well acquainted with the pawn businesses. You know, he owned both the Danville and the Somerset locations. However, we find out that due to some poor financial decisions, he fell significantly behind on the rent at the Danville location. And he attempted to terminate his lease with Steve Devine. But Steve, the building owner, you know, he threatened to sue Kenneth because he was like, you are way behind. And it's not like house rent. It's like couples of thousands of dollars every month. And he's months and months behind on this. It's business. And Steve
put that in a manila folder.
And you don't usually have like a year-long lease at a business. It's usually like, I'm pretty sure it's like 5 to 10 years is usually your lease agreements with businesses. Don't roll me on that one.
I think it's different depending on the demographic.
The size. Yeah. And I think size of business, I'm just going off of like, I know somebody who does like 5-year leases with their business. And then I know another company that my husband used to work for, they did 10-year leases, but it was a much bigger company. So
makes sense.
I think it just depends.
It's a big contract though.
Very big, way bigger than like a rental agreement with a house for a family. So he's attempting to break this lease, get out from under it. Steve Devine's like, I will sue you. Like you already owe me so much money. So in order to avoid a trial, they came to a settlement. And Steve's offer to him was transfer the business to me with its inventory, pay me $3,000, and I won't sue you.
That's actually
for
a
any
steal.
of the back rent. And he says, if you don't agree to this, then I'm going to take you to court for $120,000. Now, I don't know if that's all back rent. I don't know if that was, interest. I have no idea. But that was what was on the table.
And
Kenneth agrees
on
to
the
this
table.
deal. Yeah.
It's game time, boy.
And Kenneth agreed to it. So he signs over the business to Steve Devine. And he now does not own the Danville location. This had happened a handful of months prior to the shootings. Now, Michael Hockensmith, who was already employed there, who had gotten his job at this pawn shop by Kenneth Allen Keith, the previous owner, the new owner, Steve Devine, kept him on and then even offered a partnership to Michael and made him part owner, which significantly improved his family's financial situation and offered them even more stability. Of course, the Hockensmith, Michael, he jumps at this. He's like, fuck yeah. I'm already running the place and doing a really good job and working part-time. Now he's full-blown 50-50 partner.
It's the cheese curds. Do it.
Exactly. Do it.
What does that mean?
I have no idea, but I went with it. This arrangement infuriated Kenneth. He already was pissed he was losing his business, but he felt that the Hockensmiths and Steve had conspired against him from the very start, and he felt cheated. So, with this information, the police were convinced that they were on the right track, and so they first sought to verify or tear apart Kenneth's alibi. Now, CCTV footage confirmed that Kenneth did visit his Somerset pawn shop that morning, but he left way earlier than he had told Tracy, and he arrived in Danville around 8:17 a.m. Additionally, there was no record of him having an appointment at the VA hospital in Lexington that morning. So he was not there, which I was like, why are you going to lie about that? That's verifiable information.
That is super verifiable. I mean, they're tearing this apart like us with a bag of barbecue chips.
Oh, it's seriously.
They're tearing it open.
Now I want chips. God damn it.
You're welcome. I do too. Oh, God. We're such sluts for barbecue chips.
I just love that, or hot Cheetos.
Oh, yeah.
Takis. I love Takis.
Stop.
Okay. So the silver minivan seen in the surveillance footage matched Kenneth's vehicle exactly. They had sent the surveillance videos to be forensically analyzed, and it was confirmed that the van in the footage was Kenneth's minivan because they matched it with the exact same damage from his car to the one in the video. It's the same. It's like a fingerprint, bitch. So Despite the circumstantial nature of all of the evidence they have at this point, officers decide to have Tracy come in on and help them. And so they talk to him and he agrees to a phone tap to monitor conversations between him and Kenneth. Now, Tracy consented to this, but was instructed to not directly ask Kenneth about the murders, because if he did, that would be entrapment. So if police can't ask a normal citizen to help them further an investigation, you know, that's called entrapment.
But why? I want to help.
I know, right? And so they're like, just get him talking. Just keep him talking.
Be quiet.
Just let him talk. Let him talk. Just let him talk and we will take it in. You don't ask him questions. Just let him talk. So they end up getting 2 recorded phone calls. And Kenneth's statements, one officer said, was shockingly insane. So he spoke openly about the murders. Like, he didn't even have to ask him questions. Kenneth's just like vomiting everything. And he reveals details like the number of times each victim had been shot. And this information was not publicly known. This was not put out in the media. So they were like, oh, got you there. Also, an officer remarked that, quote, Kenneth revealed he knew he was going to prison and that his daughter would grow up without him. The details he provided were exactly what we needed to secure an arrest warrant. Now, due to Kenneth's pre-planned family trip to Florida and authorities still trying to like put their, ducks in a row, they had other authorities in Florida track Kenneth the whole time he's in Florida to keep an eye on him. And they plan to execute the warrants upon his return. So
it's heating up. It's heating up, man.
Some sources say October 9th, some sources say October 10th, but around that time of 2013, just about 3 weeks after the murders, a coordinated operation involving local police, Kentucky State Police, and the ATF.
They're pulling out all the stops.
I mean, they even said it was a small army that came to execute
the cones. Get the cones.
Yeah. They simultaneously executed warrants at 3 locations. His pawn shop in Somerset, Main Street Baptist Church in Burnside, where he was a pastor, and the parsonage, so the home that he occupied, which was owned by the church he was a pastor at. So when the judge signed the warrant, he expressed a little bit of concern, noting that he had never authorized a search warrant on a church. So he was like, I hope you're right, because this feels
Don't
weird.
make me regret this, boys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is exactly what he meant behind all of that. So at the pawn shop that day, Kenneth was arrested without incident. As he was taken into custody and transported to the police station for questioning, he maintained that he was at the pharmacy during the murders, which means, I can't do it. I was at the pharmacy. However, he didn't know this, but police had already torn apart that part of his alibi. Andrew's 911 call placed the time of the murders at approximately 9:15 a.m. since his 911 call was around 9:17 a.m. While Kenneth's arrival at the pharmacy, according to CCTV footage at the pharmacy, he arrived at 9:24.
Got him.
Based off of the location of both, businesses, it was plausible. Tight, but plausible for him to have committed the murders, leave the pawn shop at 9:17 and arrive at the pharmacy at 9:24 to try to secure his alibi. So they were like, nice try. Swing and a miss.
They gonna stick it to him like a toddler's hand with the Jolly Ranchers,
With the Jolly Ranchers.
Disgusting.
During a 2-hour interrogation, Kenneth requested a can of soda, which during his interrogation, he didn't drink. But then after 2 hours, he asked for a lawyer and the interview ceased right then. And he was placed back in holding, but before he left, he took the can of soda with him. An officer later noticed Kenneth bleeding in his cell and discovered that he had emptied the can, crushed it, and was attempting to use it to cut his own throat. Sir,
I don't.
What the hell? I know. And so they asked him, why did you do that? Like, what the hell? And he claimed that he was no longer a preacher and he feared dying in prison.
You're no longer a preacher. Okay.
Where he would in the first place, because like, okay. Now, the searches of the 3 locations yielded significant evidence. In Kenneth's office, investigators found a makeshift silencer. It was actually a converted AR-15 golf ball launcher.
What?
Which I had no idea these were a fucking thing.
That doesn't exist. That's not real. That's literally not real.
It's a real fucking thing. I Googled it.
Can you say it again?
On our Instagram. It is it's a attachment for an AR-15, and it is a golf ball launcher.
To put on your AR-15.
So apparently what it is it threads on to an AR-15 gun, and you're supposed to load blanks into the weapon and then put golf balls in the thing, and the blanks help shoot the golf balls.
Oh my God. That's in my search history now. Whoops.
So it's supposed to be like a novelty item, which like the one I found was like $300. So like,
I was just going to say the one I just saw was like really expensive for a novelty item.
Okay, novelty item. So yeah. And so that's what he used as his silencer. Pew, pew. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pew, pew. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And he used it on his .22 caliber gun, apparently. They also uncovered paperwork related to the lease agreement for the ABC pawn location and the settlement agreement with Steve Devine. Outside the pawn shop in the back, they discovered a target board and .22 caliber shell casings, which later matched those found at the scene of the murders. Surveillance footage from the early morning of the murders even showed bright flashes of light, suggesting that Kenneth might have actually practiced shooting with the silencer behind his pawn shop before executing the murders a couple hours later. They also found razors with synthetic hair in them from where Kenneth had trimmed the fake beard used during the murders.
Oh my God.
Additionally, they found $134,000 in cash, which was believed to be the stolen money from Dan's briefcase, and it was recovered. Further investigation revealed Kenneth had been operating under various aliases and identities. Among the items found were explicit photos linked to an alleged swinger group Kenneth was involved in.
Swinger group?
Yes.
Okay. I mean...
You do you, but like, dude, you're a pastor. Not just a pastor, you're a Baptist pastor. So like...
In Kentucky?
In Kentucky. So I'm pretty sure that goes against like...
We should share those with the congregation immediately.
Yeah. Let's just see what the board of directors says about this. Sure. They also ended up finding a DEA agent badge that had Kenneth's picture on it, but a completely different name. So it was a completely fake badge that he was trying to say he was a DEA agent.
That's so oddly specific and just sad.
If you don't know what the DEA, department is, it's the Drug Enforcement Agency. And so he was trying to claim he was part of that.
Okay.
Also, Kenneth had claimed to be a Green Beret or Special Forces, operative to multiple different people, which further investigation proved that it was all false.
Special Forces?
Yeah.
People in that have a different physique than what this person has. That,
I was just going to say,
have you ever seen Call of Duty?
I know, sir. Did you Google him?
Yes. And
yeah. Sir, you were not.
I'm not impressed.
No, not at all. Also, so they proved, I'm pretty sure, in my opinion, I didn't find this confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that he had no military service at all whatsoever. That is why he did not have a VA hospital appointment, because he's not a fucking veteran.
Yeah, that tracks.
When officers interviewed people from these various circles, many of them knew him by different names, didn't know that he was a preacher, and some of them didn't even know that he was married with a family.
Oh.
So, he's just out here living
multiple lives. What is he doing?
Lives.
Who raised you? And where?
Dude, I don't know. The wolves.
What?
The wolves.
Why does he look like a marshmallow?
Right? I agree.
A smushed marshmallow.
Yeah.
Somebody...
Like the kind that you like avoid when you're trying to pick out your marshmallow to make s'mores. Like
you
avoid
are
that
not special forces. You could never.
No.
You don't have the honor.
No. And they also found the medication that Kenneth had claimed was so crucial for his wife that he had to go an hour away to Danville to pick it up. It was sitting on his desk 3 weeks after the murder. Still there. So if it was so essential, why wasn't it at home with your wife?
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't she using it? Additionally, the receipt for that medication had a circle around the timestamp on the receipt.
He really knows how to do it, doesn't he?
Does.
He's proven his smarticle particles in this moment.
Uh-huh. In Kenneth's search history on his computers and devices and stuff, investigators found searches for fake beards, instructions on how to attach them, and methods for burying money with GPS coordinates.
It's so...
You're so dumb, it's laughable.
It sounds like
this is a horrific crime.
This is like a low-budget film, okay?
Yes.
Like, I'm talking like Napoleon Dynamite budget film, except
and when
there's no payoff.
No, absolutely not. There's no good one-liners coming out of this. When he was like being interviewed, like he legit thought he was like, I'm smarter than all of you.
He's like, I'm the one.
I was at the pharmacy. So like I have my alibi. Pin this on me, bitch. He really did think he was going to get away with this. It's like, yeah, you definitely were no Green Beret. Fucking idiot. You could have done better job if you were a Green Beret. These bodies would have never been found if you were a Green Beret. Come on. So dumb. They also discovered that Kenneth had run background checks. What the fuck? The night before the wedding, the night before the murders, on all the victims. He ran background checks on all of them. Now, here's my question, and I could not figure this out.
What was the point?
Had he ran a background check on Steve Devine? Because...
Would it be worth it to do that?
Remember,
Remember,
he was supposed to be there.
That's
that
right.
morning. He felt that Steve and the Hockensmiths were in cahoots. So, had he run one on Steve Devine, and did he plan on also killing Steve Devine at this point in time? Because Steve was supposed to be there. It was just a
perhaps
allergy thing that kept him from being shot. If he would have been there, he'd have been murdered. So,
okay.
I was like, that was a question that came up, but
it wasn't supposed to be Angie. It was supposed to be Mr. Divine.
Yeah.
I still fucking hate that last name. I'm sorry if you own that last name. I don't like it.
It gives her the ick.
I don't have to like things, okay? You don't have to like my last name.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I like it.
I hated my last name before I got married.
God,
that's a name for another day.
At least you didn't have kids in school saying, Red Robin at you.
Oh, yeah.
And then they come up right next to my ear. Yum. Horrible.
Actually, I just got called a boy all the time because my last name has the word boy in it. And so...
Laci boy.
Like, yeah, boy. I was like, fuck you. Go suck a dick.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, anyways, back to the episode.
Yes.
In my opinion, given the evidence, it seems likely. In my opinion, Steve was supposed to be there that day. Steve was supposed to be a victim in this whole debacle. And allergies saved his life. So, like, praise allergies.
Good on... Clarence D made him so clear.
Mm-hmm. He was like...
that he was able to decide to not do that.
Clarence D was his... What is that? The ball? Fortune ball? Fortune teller?
8 ball?
What are those balls? No, not an 8 ball. The ball. Don't you like my hand? I'm like, the ball.
What is that?
I keep calling it a globe. You know where they're like, let me look into the...
Oh, the crystal ball.
Crystal ball.
God.
That took way too long. I'm so sorry. My brain hurts. Okay, also... Kenneth had laid out maps with various routes highlighted around ABC Pond, including the exact path that his van took that was seen on the CCTV footage. This guy is so dumb. Dan Smith's family was devastated when they learned that Pastor Kenneth was behind the murders. They had known Kenneth personally and considered him to be a friend of Dan's. Unfortunately, though, with all of this evidence, the trial dragged on for years, with delays caused by a multitude of factors. First off, Kenneth's original defense attorney, rest his soul, was murdered outside of his attorney office.
God.
I know. And so then his wife took over the case that year. It was like 2014, but then she withdrew from the case in 2015.
I don't blame her.
Now I know, right? The new attorney had to start from complete scratch. And this led to numerous appeals, suppression hearings, and other legal proceedings. Despite these obstacles, though, none of the attempts to derail the case were successful. And in 2017, Kenneth agreed to a plea deal. Mind you, these murders happened in 2013.
God.
Like, Jesus Christ, it took so long. So his plea deal, he would plead guilty to the charges if the death penalty was removed from consideration, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The agreement was accepted, and Kenneth was convicted on 3 counts of first-degree homicide. On May 26, 2017, Kenneth's sentencing was waived, and he was immediately transferred to prison from the Boyle County Courthouse. Now, prior to agreeing to the plea deal, Kenneth had confessed to the murders in a meeting with his defense attorney and his wife.
Oh, poor
Can you
gal.
imagine? Jesus Christ. Yeah, this was just the day before. His motives were very clear. He believed his business had been unjustly taken from him, and he confessed to purchasing the gun in January of 2013 and had conducted internet searches about Dan Smith, the gold broker in February. This evidence confirmed that the murders were premeditated and planned well in advance, all the way back in January. Now, in my opinion, this is how I view this case. Kenneth had planned for both Michael and Steve to be present at the scheduled meeting with Dan, seeing it as his prime opportunity to eliminate those he felt had betrayed him. He intended to kill them and steal the money from Dan, making the crime appear as a robbery. That way, no suspicion would be on him.
Yeah.
But Kenneth underestimated the children's ability to provide detailed accounts of the murders. By leaving them alive, he inadvertently set the stage for his own fucking downfall. He had that timestamp for the fucking pharmacy at 9:24 without Andrew's fucking bravery and ability to call 911 at 9:17
that point in time
and have that fucking documented.
Yeah. It could have all been different.
It could have all crumbled. Without that one piece of evidence, they wouldn't have been able to get the search warrants.
An 8-year-old took you down. Ugh.
Yes.
That's the way.
I love to report this. Andrew is happily married now, and they're so freaking cute.
Yes.
I will link, they have like a memorabilia type page for the Hockensmiths for Angie and Michael. And they pretty regularly post on it. And they got married, I'm pretty sure it was this past summer. And they got married, this is so cute, on Naomi's birthday. And gave Naomi a birthday cake at their wedding and sang her happy birthday. And it was so cute. I was like, oh my God, you two are adorable.
Blessed be to both Andrew and Naomi.
I know. And you have to go watch that video and just see little Andrew giving this information and being so calm and so collected. Like are you kidding me? I'd have been like,
The emotional, what is it?
Intelligence, the emotional intelligence and maturity
that he had in that moment to be able to like rope in,
Yeah. I'm sure he cried.
Feelings.
I'm sure he broke down afterwards.
For sure.
But like, it was like his little brain was like, this is what I have to do. And this is what's going to get my mommy and daddy's murderer caught. Like his brain knew that at 9 years old. Like I was just so impressed. I was like, you're the goat, man. I love this.
Hats off. I'm not wearing a hat. My hat would be off if I was wearing it.
That was a different case for me. I felt so weird researching it because I was so happy that like there was like a survivor, two survivors, you know, especially one that can like still tell the story and at such a young age, and like seeing him come out of this and still have a very loving and productive life, as from what I can tell.
Yeah.
And he's married, and him and his wife look so beautiful together. And it made me so happy to see that kind of happy ending. I can't help but think that Michael and Angie would just be
very
over
proud,
the moon,
very proud,
excited and proud of the man that Andrew has become and who Naomi is as a young girl. It's just so sweet. So sweet. She was born in early 2013, late 2012.
So now she would be...
She's like a year older than Lily, than my oldest.
That's
like
cool.
fucking crazy. That's crazy.
That's so nice.
But yeah, I just like, I don't know. I thought it was a good case. But
that is a really
I feel
good case.
so bad for all of the family. And, you know, this is one thing there's many things we can learn from this, but this is one of the things. Don't have a predictable schedule. If you can help it. Shake shit up. Serpentine, bitch. Serpentine.
Unfortunately, this is actually something that, like, maybe if you were raised as a male, you may not already kind of do this. But like that is told to someone that is raised as a female very often.
All the time.
Don't have a predictable schedule. Don't do the same things. Don't get in specific habits that can be trackable and can put you in a vulnerable position.
Yeah.
So
it's hard. Like sometimes like it's unavoidable, right?
I know.
Like, it's absolutely unavoidable.
Because humans, we love structure, and most of our work, school, home, it's revolved around a schedule or a structure of some sort that gives you a sense of control or helps you stay organized. So but
and you know, that's like why I say, you know, that's a good thing that I have ADHD and I'm chronically late, because you know what? Like, yes, I might have to take my kids to school every morning, but like, bitch, you never know when I'm walking out that door, because there is a 45-minute window when I can get my kids to school.
I never know what's happening with Laci. I never know what's happening at any point in time.
I told Lola today, I will be on time.
No. Read the text you sent me. And I just said like, okay, like I accepted it because
this is my life. So because we're recording a day earlier, because I always lose my voice when I get a cold. So I was like, girl, I got my voice today. Let's record today so I don't lose it. So I told her I might be a little bit after our recording time. And she's like, cool. So 7 minutes before we're supposed to be on recording, I said, I'll be on time. How about we do the ad first, blah, blah, blah. We talk a couple, and she goes, yep. And then at, I don't know what time. I think it was like 7:34. So I'm already 4 minutes late, mind you. I said, I'm coming. Sorry. Kids fighting over a unicorn and Snape was an asshole. She just goes, you're good. So let me explain that. My kids were fighting over a unicorn doll, and I let my chickens have a field trip today in the yard, and I was trying to get them in their run so I could just get them like hunkered down and taken care of, and I don't have to think about it tonight. But Snape, one of my roosters, was an asshole, and he would not go in the fucking run, and he kept like serpentining me, and I was just like, you little bitch, I just told Lola I'd be on time. No, I was a good solid 7 minutes late.
It's fine. I've lived through worse.
ADHD, I'm chronically late. I'm late every day.
Was that your palate cleanser?
No. But
cool. What was your palate cleanser? I forgot.
Let's get into palate cleansers. Mine is my makeshift shower.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
So, as you guys know or have heard in the last handful of episodes, actually, it's probably been longer than that because it's been a while. My bathroom is under a remodel, and for the last probably month and a half, maybe a month, I don't know, we've had a plastic tarp hanging around our bathroom shower tub area because we have no walls. And then I was like, we have to get this done for Lola and Andrew because they're coming in like 2 weekends, a week and a half. And so we've been working very hard. And if you've ever remodeled a bathroom, then you know, you're laughing at me because I really was like, we'll have it done in a week. Nah, bitch, this shit takes a long time. And when you do tile, there are steps upon steps upon steps to get this shit done. And
she's ADHD. What are you going to do?
Well, it's not me doing the stuff. It's Tyler. And
That's
Tyler's
true.
never done a bathroom remodel. And mind you, you wouldn't know that by the look of it because this boy, he goes the extra mile and he gets this shit done. And he makes it look good. And he don't cut no corners. And because he doesn't cut corners, it takes a lot longer. And this means we don't have a shower. This means we don't have a bath. Okay. So we have been either utilizing our YMCA membership and going and showering there, or we've been filling up the tub outside. Not the tub, the
pool,
swimming.
The tiny pool.
In the morning, and then the sun warms it up and it's okay. And then we just shower outside and our neighbors look at us and laugh and wave and we just call it a day. We wear a bathing suit. We're not indecent.
But he created a shower.
He created a shower because he was like, you know what? I don't have time to go to YMCA because they close early some days. And he's like,
yeah,
I want a fucking hot shower. He used to do carpet cleaning. So he's like, he has all these attachments. So he finds one, he attaches the hose to our kitchen sink. And then he attaches like our long, like end of the hose, like garden hose that you would like, attachment that you'd like use to water your garden. He attaches that to it. And then he uses a strip and he like screws it to one of our poles of our canopy outside. And he literally created a shower that's actually warm. And so I told Lola, bring your bathing suit because I hope this is done by the time you get here. But if not, just think of it as an Airbnb camping style outdoor warm shower.
I'm not upset.
You know, it's pretty. You can look at the stars. You can hear the chickens in the background. Good. It is an experience.
I'm sure it is.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I have hot water and I get to remodel my bathroom.
You have running water.
I have running water.
Period.
I have clean water. I have a house. I have a roof over my head. I am not complaining. This is not a problem.
We're grateful.
I think it's just funny.
It is funny.
I'm having fun with it, honestly.
It's a good one.
Okay, what's your palate cleanser?
85 years ago today, civil rights protesters quietly entered the library in Alexandria, VA, to stage a sit-in. One young Black man, well-dressed and polite, entered and requested a library card. When he was declined, he picked up a book, sat down, and began to read. And a couple minutes later, another young Black man did the same thing. And this continued until 5 young Black men were silently reading at tables and doing just a sit-in.
Sit-in, yeah.
Protest. And it flustered all of the library staff, so they called the police.
These Black men are reading books.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
It was organized by Samuel Wilbert Tucker, a bar-certified Virginia attorney. He tried for several years to establish equal access to community resources, but the white community, including the Alexandria Library Board, remained unswayed on it. So it was his plan to stage the sit-in. His brother, William, was one of the sit-in protesters who sat reading while one of their party ran to Tucker's law office to alert him that the police had been called. Officers arrived and they escorted the protesters from the library, arresting them for disorderly conduct.
They were reading a book, you little shits.
But Samuel Tucker had called a photographer who took the photo and quickly arranged for their release. He planned to challenge the city in court on the grounds that all citizens were entitled to equal access to public services. But the city, in an effort to resist integration, stalled the process with intense negotiations. Eventually, this was undone. Eventually it was a separate but equal, and then eventually just equal. But this is a lesser known movement or moment from the civil rights movement. And it happened in 1939. So, and it's really cool. This is from thegoodnewsnetwork.org, which I feel like it's just the best. Okay. It just
sponsor us, bitch. We're just kidding.
They're the best. I'll plug them forever. I hope that they learn about us someday.
I know, that'd be cool. That's crazy, 1930s, because the Brown versus Board of Education, that wasn't until 1954. I think that was the year. Pretty sure that was 1954. So that was like a couple decades before.
Mm-hmm.
It is wild to me to think back on that was our history. That people are like, nah, your color, the color of your skin.
It wasn't that long ago.
Drink from another fountain. It's like, what? I
know, even though we keep getting further away from that portion of history, it still is not that long ago that all this happened. So it's just
no. And that's wild when you think about it.
It's impressive the strides that we've made, but also it should have happened way sooner, you know?
Yeah. Like a lot of our grandparents, they were born before Brown versus Board of Education was established.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. People alive right now.
My dad remembers some segregation things in Alabama, you know, and my gran, she was in a classroom segregated, you know? It's
segregated.
Wild. So
because Brown versus Board of Education had passed doesn't mean integration happened overnight. We've said this in that one in our other episode when we talked about all of this. It took years
because it wasn't just
to be integrated.
A trickle down effect, you know. It was you had local government that was fighting against federal government and everything. So it was just
and then you have the crazy South, you know, people who are like the religious fanatics that were like really
you can tell us what to do all day, but we're not going to do it, you know.
It's just crazy, but that's good. I love hearing that story. I love learning more about our history.
Me too. The good parts of it are very refreshing to hear, so
yes,
good on them. Well, that concludes this episode, and with that, stay safe, stay skeptical,
and steer clear of the cultish carousel. We interrupt this episode with a message from our sponsor. If you've ever deconstructed your faith, you know it's not easy. But just imagine if you could have people to guide you through the process.
That's right. People like Jim Palmer, Kristen Dumez, author of Jesus and John Wayne, Jennifer Knapp, Brad Jerzak, Brian Zond, Paul Young, author of The Shack, and more. Well, if you head over to choiracademy.com and register for Square 2 using the promo code LOLA, you'll get 10% off the regular registration cost of this awesome course and community just for being a fan of our show.
All links can be found in the show notes. Again, that's code LOLA, LOLA, for 10% off the Square 2 course.
Also, heathens, if you're enjoying the show so far, please remember to subscribe wherever you're listening to us. Leave us a review, like us, follow, whatever. Anything. We'd love to have you. Thanks for being part of our community. You can also join our Patreon, which is a closer-knit community of us. It's only $5 a month, and you get access to our bonus podcast, the Potty Podcast, where we shoot the shit with weekly episodes. Deadly Faith is brought to you by Choircast Network. It's produced by Laci Bean and Lola Robbins, and audio engineered by Eric Howell. Thanks for listening.